And what's going on, wow, we're much closer. So what's going on here is each line is basically one storytelling path. And if you look at this, there's two lines obviously here. You can think one of them is Mike, one of them is Alex. And what's happening here is that the intersection points are where our visions meet up. And this idea of telling a story to us was very exciting. However, we had no idea if it would work, or would players like have too much to think about as they were playing. Would it be confusing? Because we're trying to tell the same story, but Mike is like, I'm going over here. And I'm like, no, wait, man, it's about this. And every now and then we would meet up. But we figured since our games were so highly stylized to begin with, fuck it, let's try it, so we did. And we kind of realized that this was starting to happen at the end of BIT.TRIP Beat. So it was really in core that we started to kind of exploit this storytelling system. So now we're kind of going to whiz through the story of the BIT.TRIP series. It's 6 games, so it could get a little long if we went into all the details, so we'll probably summarize, but...
and also just, I would tell stories with the background art of the BIT.TRIP games. Alex wrote all the cutscenes and stuff, so that's how like our stories were different.
And then on top of that, we had more strands of music, and then of course gameplay as well, because I was trying to tell some story elements through gameplay too. So our story starts with BIT.TRIP Beat, and as we go through these, we'll try to talk about how the gameplay, art, and music work together using that method. And the majority of our symbolism for the whole series was conceived. Now, in this slide, this is just a screenshot of Nether mode, and I just want to talk here briefly about the gameplay, how the gameplay tells the story. In Beat, Commander Video is just coming off of being an ethereal being and considering going to the corporeal side. And when he's an ethereal being, everything is free and he can float, and it's just wonderful. And so you have this analog movement on the paddle. Even though you could only move on one axis, it felt very, very free and flowing, and that was on purpose. We wanted the player to feel very, very, I don't know, open and agile.
So the one caveat is we needed to have like the whole story to keep these games together. So it's 6 games. We really wanted this overarching story, and we just didn't think at the time that most people could figure out our story solely through the art and gameplay, although that's what we wanted. Alex didn't even want to use numbers for scores and just really great stuff. But so that's why we have these more literal cutscenes.
And we'll show you one of these cutscenes now. So this is the opening cutscene from BIT.TRIP Beat. It's a little dark on this monitor, but it is the point of saying, although our character is black too, so. But anyway, so this is Commander Video floating free in the ether and just living, quote unquote, doing anything he wants. But he decides to become corporeal. And in that moment, these are sort of his inspiration, like sort of empowering him to make that decision. And this right here is like the culmination of that decision to become a physical being.
So this is one of my favorite moments from all BIT.TRIP games. It starts at a star, and as far as we know it, the stars are the source of all existence in the galaxy, all life, whatever you believe. So it's such an epic thought to me, and it's such a great thought. I thought we both thought we should start the games here, and I don't know, the sun's just so powerful, and ended up being us. I think it's just a brilliant thought. Indeed, we go past asteroids. They're sort of the first physicality that CB sees in the universe as he's on his journey. In level 2, CB's solar matter is now going through the lava fallopian tubes of the galaxy as his atoms are dispersed. Here we see 2 awesome things. One is the egg of the universe being spermed upon. The other thing is breakout. In level 3, you get more literal, and Commander Video's sort of corporeal existence begins to form. this represents the universe, what the universe decided Commander Video is going to be. And here we see his DNA has been decided, which is
and then after BIT, we move on to BIT.TRIP Core, where we explore Commander Video living in his body and navigating the world for the first time. And to illustrate that fact, while the player can use two axes, because there's more going on in Commander Video's life, the player can't actually move their avatar on screen at all. And the result of this was that the player felt very constrained in playing BIT.TRIP Core. And since we were exploring ideas of Commander Video starting to feel strange and cumbersome within his new body, we wanted the player to feel that as well. So that's the gameplay there. Now, in this, like, talking about or considering feeling uneasy in your body while playing Core, we wanted this sort of general uneasiness to come through in the game, because everything that Commander Video is experiencing now is freaking him out because it's brand new. So Mike created this this first cutscene, which I think is just horrifying. And to me, what this cutscene represents is Commander Video experiencing other humans for the first time, just after being born. And he doesn't quite know what to make of it. And they're actually not creepy, they're just regular folks. But, you know, for an ethereal being just coming off of that ethereal vibe, like, just something going on there. Now, is that pretty much what that meant to you, that cutscene?
I just want to make some cool, I think.
Okay.
I thought that was true.
So, like Mike said, I was kind of in charge of telling that story through cutscenes, so a lot of those were like kind of like more literal. So then, I'll just play a very short clip here of the first level of gameplay in BIT.TRIP Core. And the first level, and in fact all of Core, takes place, it's a moment you can't see the backgrounds. That's the whole point of this video, is to see the backgrounds. But there's like moving parts back there, and what's actually happening here are that these are his legs being exercised for the first time as he learns to use them. And like I was saying before, in BIT.TRIP Core was when we started to really use, started using that double helix, which, since it had a label called this, I'm just going to call it the this for the purposes of this talk. I think that's kind of fun. But anyway, so we started using the this, and in this game, our method of storytelling starts to develop, and Mike was freed up to kind of do his own thing and tell his own story, and I was freed up because of that. So, for instance, Mike thinks that this represents Commander Video's legs being formed and built in utero, and I think it means actually after he's born and running around. So here you can see Commander Video's reproductive organs being built. That is, for the record, a gigantic penis in an E-rated video game. So that's awesome.
And no one's ever figured it out.
And then in level 2, you get Commander Video exploring his physical environment for the first time and sort of walking around corners, seeing what there is to see, and like I was saying before with Mike being, having his own vision to follow, we're like this on our crazy this path. And this represents to him the brain synapses beginning with fire. And actually, I think you had like this idea that this was illustrating the difference between that the difference between death and life is perception. And at the end of this level, all of the synapses fire up into the sky, and then you fight a really hard boss battle. And then this, in level 3, is where our inspirations intersect again. We're at one of those intersection points as Commander Video explores what it means to understand and have inspiration and thought. And each object in level 3 represents some sort of basic human invention or innovation or tool. And this here is a clock. Again, it's dark, but trust us, it's a clock. And here's a lock with the pins and everything. And then this horrible device, actually, it's kind of funny because Mike was making all of these things, and he would like call me over to his desk, and he's like, "Hey, check this one out." And I would see, "Oh, that's a loom," or "That's a phonograph." And I got them all. And then he showed me this, and instantly I was like, "Ah, is that like a device that, like from Saw, that you would put in someone's chest and rip it open?" And he was like, "It totally is." So basic human inventions.
If you see it, if you see something
If you see
Saw
it.
3, Venice.
Oh, and it's animating, and I had never seen the movie actually, so I thought that was pretty rad that we figured it out together. So anyway, this is Commander Video's, like, he's basically inheriting from the collective unconsciousness, if you believe in that. Which I.
So this is Void, and this is where this probably is at its widest point. We're telling two completely different stories, Alex and I, throughout Void, and yet it has the same end goal, and that's what's really kind of cool about this. So I do all right, see what else we got to say. So in the first time in BIT.TRIP, we have total free movement throughout the screen, but we're also confined to this small space. You can't really move past the